Oh yeah!
Hello my gaming family and welcome to another video. I don't know if you noticed by now, but when it comes to gaming, I play almost everything. No matter what genre is that game, what developer stays behind it, or something else, I will try it, give it a fair chance, and eventually play it much more if I like it. I have been gamer for all my life. I started when I was 4 years old with Sega consoles, later I was spending my days on arcades, and after that my parents got me my first PC. Now I have family, a wife and a little daughter, my primary job, and I still find time to play the games and make videos about them. So as I mentioned, I play all kind of games, but one game I have been playing for more than 15 years. That one game that marked my growing up, high school period and even a good part of my college days. Even today, beside all my obligations and beside the fact that I play all kind of games, I still find time to play this game. World of Warcraft, guys. Maybe the best MMO game ever. A game that has remained strongly imprinted in my heart that I simply compare every new MMO that comes out with it. That is not good actually, considering that I unconsciously looking for some WoW segments in other games and probably don't like them because of that. Anyway, beside retail server on which you can play the US expansions, 3 years ago Blizzard decided to start new server on which they will release the older expansions once again. They started with vanilla game named World of Warcraft Classic. After that, in 2021, they released the Burning Crusade Classic, the first WoW expansion, and in September this year, they will bring back to life maybe the best WoW expansion ever, and that is Wrath of the Lich King. A lot of you have already heard and maybe even played this game, but there are still people out there who are not familiar with this game, and this video is dedicated to them. I personally know a couple of people who never played World of Warcraft, and after I explained them how the game works, and especially after I told them about Lich King, they decided to try it when it comes out. So, in today's video, I will introduce new players with the story of this expansion and will explain the classes you will be able to choose in the game. But as always guys, before we continue, make sure you smash that subscribe button. That's the best possible way to support growth of this channel and my work in general. So, what are you waiting for? Anyway, let's assume that you are informed about World of Warcraft in general, but you are not familiar with Wrath of the Lich King expansion. Let's see what's the story behind it. Note that I won't tell a complete story of this expansion, cause that won't be easy at all, neither for me to explain everything, nor for you to understand everything without having followed the story of the game from the very beginning. Also, in Wrath of the Lich King, story developed through patches, and with every patch the story expands and slowly prepare you for the final patch and fall of the Lich King. So, who is Lich King? The Lich King is the master and lord of the Scourge, which he rules telepathically from the frozen throne in Icecrown Citadel. So, the Lich King was created by Kil'jaeden, a powerful Eredar demon lord and acting leader of the Burning Legion. He created Lich King from the spirit of the Orc Shaman Ner'zhul to rise an undead army to conquer Azeroth for the Burning Legion. While trapped within Frozen Throne, Lich King eventually betrayed Kil'jaeden and merged with human called Arthas Menethil, and that's the part of the story that interests us the most. Arthas Menethil was the son of King Ternas Menethil II and Crown Prince of Lordaeron and Knight of the Silver Hand. He had a bright future in front of himself. He was trained as paladin by one of the greatest paladins of all time, and the one who led Order of the Silver Hand against the Horde during the Second War, Uther the Lightbringer. Despite the bright future and promising young age, Arthas managed to become the most hated person in the entire world. Although he killed the necromancer Kel'Thuzad, he was unable to stop a plague spread. The biggest mistake he made is taking the cursed rune blade called Frostmourne. Although he succeeded to defeat the undead leader Mal'Ganis, unfortunately Arthas lost his soul. He became Death Knight of the Scourge, and he led the undead forces in destroying of Lordaeron, Kel'Thalas and the Dalaran. Not long after that, Arthas made his way to Frozen Throne in Icecrown, where he merged with Lich King. So at the final patch of this expansion, you, hero, with all other heroes of the Azeroth, will attempt to finally kill Lich King and bring his tyranny to an end. Raiding Icecrown Citadel, in my opinion, is the best raid in all World of Warcraft expansions. Anyway, after a short explanation of the story of this expansion, and I honestly hope you understood something, we will move to the next segment of this video, and that is classes you will be able to play in the Wrath of the Lich King Classic. So, beside classes from previous expansion, and those are a warrior, a mage, warlock, shaman, druid, paladin, priest, hunter and rogue, the new hero class was added, and that is Dead Knight. I need to mention that unlike the original Wrath of the Lich King, in which to be able to make a Dead Knight, you needed to have one character on level 55, in Classic that feature is removed, so you will be able to make your Dead Knight immediately. So the Dead Knight can combine his melee attack with dark necromantic energies. They are a melee class with casting abilities like the Paladin and can rise undead minions. Also, they are the only class to use the rune resource system. So Dead Knight starts at level 55 in Archers, the Ebon Hold over the Eastern Plague Lands, with multiple spells and abilities ready to use, and a set of uncommon gear. When departing Ebon Hold, they have a full set of rare gear ready for Outland. Before they set for adventure out of the beginning area, Dead Knights needs to do the chain quests in which they follow the story behind it, how they became Dead Knights and their relationship with Lich King itself. Just like with the old other classes, with Dead Knight you will be able to choose between 3 talent trees: Blood, Frost and Unholy. Blood is the tank talent tree, and the abilities from that tree will provide a lot of self-healing. Also, the amount of damage the Blood Dead Knights are able to do is not negligible. Frost is full damage talent tree, and also my favorite one. You will be able to do tons of damage using Frost abilities, and if you know how, the enemies won't be able to get rid of you while you smash around with 2 swords or axes. When it comes to the Unholy Dead Knights, well, they are known as caster destroyers. If Unholy DK knows how to play, the most of regular caster players probably won't stand a chance. Unholy DK, beside anti-magic barrier and abilities to absolutely dominate casters, can also spec into Master of Goals, which makes their summoned goal a permanent pet to aid in battle. I don't know if you noticed, but DKs are my favorite class, especially Frost, and also I need to mention that Dead Knight class has its own special weapon enchanting ability called Rune Forging, which replaces the need for conventional weapon enchants. Imagine dude or a girl in cool robes controlling fire or ice and casting some awesome looking spells. Yup, you must love mages. So as a spellcasters, you must have in mind that you wear cloth armor and you are pretty much squishy, unlike classes that wear leather, mail or plate armor, so you must try your best to control battlefield and keep distance from your enemies. Mage talents are Frost, Fire and Arcane. Although Arcane have some cool spells, you won't come across Arcane Mage in the game so often, they are so rare, and to be honest, for all these years I've been playing WoW, I never played Arcane Mage. Frost Mage have an amazing CC or crowd control, which means if you know how to play your Frost Mage, the enemies will have a hard time of catching you, especially melee ones. Also, the damage Frost Mages are able to do is pretty decent and is also a great class for easy leveling. Fire Mages, unlike Frost ones, are able to do much higher damage, but their crowd control is a little bit weaker. What's more, you will often see Fire Mages fighting face to face with enemies, trying to daze them with their instant spells. Fire Mages rely on procs and crits, or to say luck, and when a Fire Mage got lucky to fire all instants and all crits, the enemy goes down in a second, literally. Fire Mages are really interesting to play, but in my opinion much more difficult than Frost. Warlocks, same as mages, are casters, and they also wear cloth armor, so they have similar playstyle as mages. Warlocks are a really cool class, and they are divided into 3 specs: Demonology, Affliction and Destruction. Warlocks are masters of demonic arts. They excel in using curses, firing bolts of fire and shadow, and summoning demons to help them in combat. They are also great in supporting fellow allies by summoning other players or using ritual magics to conjure stones imbued with the power to heal. They are also great in crowd control, considering they have a couple of spells which are able to fear opponent and keep them away. Demonology Warlock is a spec that revolves around constant summoning of temporary demons to do damage to enemies, and also with Metamorphosis spell you as a player will be able to transform into demon, and that will grant you some unique abilities and make you generally stronger for some time. This spec is really interesting, but the most difficult of these 3, and you won't be able to come across Demonology Warlock that often. Affliction Warlocks, on the other side, are much more affordable, especially if you are new to this class. Their playstyle revolves around curses, and you will often see Affliction Warlocks in top of damage dealers. So as I mentioned, their playstyle revolves around curses, and once you fear and immobilize your opponent, throw a bunch of curses and weaknesses on him, then the best thing comes, and that is Drain Life ability, which will drain your opponent's health points and instantly heal you. Affliction Warlocks are great for leveling, but I find their playstyle a little bit boring to be honest. Destruction Warlocks are most similar to mages and my favorite ones. For a long time, Destrolock was my main character and I played that spec for years. Destrolock is a great burster, and if you want to burst down an enemy and also be able to control a battlefield a little, then Destrolock is definitely for you. Note that Warlocks are not easy to play. If you try them, you will see why. But on the other side, they are a really interesting class, they have tons of awesome spells that you will absolutely love, and you won't find their playstyle boring in any moment. Priests are the third caster class that also use cloth armor, but unlike mages and warlocks, they have completely different playstyle. Priest specs are Shadow, Holy and Discipline. They are commonly considered one of the standard healing classes in World of Warcraft, as they have two talent specs that can be used to heal quite effectively. Shadow is the only DPS spec priests have and is a little bit similar to Affliction Warlock. In this spec you will be able to use Shadow form that, when you enter it, will increase damage you deal and will allow you to use some abilities. You will also be able to heal yourself and others, but not like with other two specs, and also you will need to exit Shadow form to be able to use some healing abilities. Discipline and Holy are priests healing specs, and to be honest with you, I never ever played a healer in World of Warcraft or any other MMO. All I know is that the both Holy and Discipline priests are absolutely great healers, especially in raids. Shamans are a really interesting class. They master elemental and nature magics and bring the most potential buffs to any group in the form of totems. A shaman can summon one totem of each element, earth, fire, air and water, which appears at the shaman's feet and provide a buff to anyone in the shaman's party or raid within range of it. Some shaman totems, notably the fire ones, also do damage to opponents. The trick to play any type of shaman is knowing which totems to cast under which circumstances. You could think that the whole shaman gameplay revolves around totems, but it's not like that. Shaman specs are Enhancement, Elemental and Restoration. Enhancement shamans are primarily melee fighters that use totems and shock spells to harm the enemy. They can also summon two ghost wolves to aid them in combat, and they can also transform into a wolf, so it can be really difficult to keep distance with them in combat. Elemental shamans are spellcasters. They use fire and lightning spells and can deal a huge amount of damage. They have some interesting spells to be able to control battlefield, like Thunderstorm, which allow them to push enemies away from the shaman, some root spells and totems. Restoration Shaman is a healer class, and it's great for multiple target healing because of their chain heal ability. Hunters are really great for new players. They are super cool for leveling and later in the game for raiding and PvP too. Hunters are great damage dealers and also have nice crowd control. Also, the help of a pet is always great and welcomed. When it comes to hunter specs, you will be able to choose between marksmanship, beast mastery and survival. When it comes to marksmanship, you will notice if you choose to play it that in this spec the bigger focus is on a hunter and his damage with his weapon than on a pet. That doesn't mean that your pet is useless, on the contrary, it's really helpful, but you will see the difference between this spec and the beast mastery. Beast Mastery, as the name says, is a spec that focuses more on your chosen pet. I can't describe you guys how much I hate to play against Beast Mastery hunters. And damn, their pets can literally one-shot you. Rogues are a really interesting class to play. They are capable of dealing great amount of damage to a single target, both in PvP and PvE. The whole rogue gameplay revolves around stealth and surprising enemies, and that's the reason why they're so interesting for playing. Rogues wear leather armor and can mainly use daggers, but also one-handed maces, axes and swords as weapons. Poisons are the great attribute rogues possess, and they can use them to cripple their opponents. Rogue specs are combat, assassination and subtlety, and no matter which one you decide to play, it won't be easy. Rogues are a really difficult class, both for endgame and leveling, and my advice is, if you didn't play WoW so far, rogues are not ideal pick for your first class. On the other hand, if you like melee classes and you want to go a little bit easier through leveling, then you can consider playing Paladin class. They are really great, they bolster their allies with holy auras and blessings. Paladin specs are Retribution, Protection and Holy. Holy Paladin is a healing spec, and when as a DPS you have Holy Paladin on your side, you can be sure that you will be hard to kill. Protection Paladins are great tanks for raids and dungeons, and Retribution Paladin is DPS spec. In this pre-patch I started playing Retro Pala, and they are awesome for leveling too. Paladins are really hard to kill, no matter what spec you play, considering you have Lay of Hands ability that can restore full health points, Divine Shield that will protect you from all kind of damage for 12 seconds, and also they have other healing abilities. Plus to all those healing abilities, Retribution Paladin also do an amazing amount of damage. For the end, I left two classes that in my opinion are the hardest but also the strongest classes to play in this expansion. Warrior is a main melee class in this game. Warriors are a very powerful class, with the ability to tank or deal significant melee damage. Protection Warrior is a tanking spec, and it contains many talents to improve their survivability and generate threat against monsters. On the other side, Warrior have two DPS specs, Arms and Fury. Both are great on their own specific ways, and in my opinion, Warriors can counter every single class in the game. They are really great and powerful class. The reason I consider them the hardest class to play, and the reason I never played it in this expansion, is because of their stances. A warrior have 3 stances: Battle, Defensive and Berserker. Every stance have unique abilities that you will need in certain situations, and you will constantly need to switch between those stances. Considering you have tons of abilities you will need to use, and 3 different stances, you will need a lot of macros, and switching between stances, also known as stance dance, is not easy at all. But eventually, if you learn and master that, you will see and feel true warrior's power. And the last class in this expansion is Druid. If you thought warriors are hard to play, then you didn't try Druids. For all these years, I never, literally never, played Druid. I tried it once, but that was that. It's not for me definitely. Druids are capable of everything. They can perform in a variety of different roles, and as such have one of the most varied play styles. A Druid can act as a healer, a melee DPS, a ranger DPS, or a tank, utilizing a variety of shape-shifting forms. So as all other classes, they have 3 specs: Feral, Restoration and Balance. Restoration is a healing spec that beside the new shape-shifting form will give a druid some new abilities and also upgrade its current healing abilities too. Feral and Balance are both DPS specs with some unique spells and forms and quite different play styles. What is unique for this class is shape-shifting form. Druid have a couple of forms that affect your gameplay a lot, and you can combine them for every situation. So for example, for high damage in Feral spec, you will have Cat form, while in Balance spec you will have Moonkin form. If you want to be a tank, you have Bear form, although you can use that form as a DPS too. In water you will have Aquatic form, for traveling you will have Travel form and even Flying one if you want to fly. Druids actually don't need any mount in this game. So no matter what spec you choose, be ready to use almost all forms all the time. For example, in PvP, if you are a DPS, you will fight in Cat form. When enemies strike you hard, you wanna shift to Bear form so you can take less damage, and if you want to heal, you must exit your form to be able to use your healing abilities. Also, every form has its unique abilities, so macros in this class are must. Warriors, as I mentioned, have 3 stances with some unique abilities too, but you won't need to change stances as much as you will need forms with Druid. Druids are the most difficult class in World of Warcraft and definitely not recommended for beginners. And that will be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. Beside all the bad things going on with this game, I find World of Warcraft an amazing game, especially in Wrath of the Lich King expansion. If you never played this game, or you did, but you didn't try this expansion, with Lich King Classic, now is the perfect time to do that. I honestly think it's worth your time and money. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys, it will be really helpful, and if you want to support the channel in the long run, consider becoming a Patreon, if you like of course. All the links are in the description. Also, if you want to know more about the story, or you want to see some guide, or some specific class in depth, let me know in comment section down below and I will gladly make a video. And as always fam, until next time, see ya and stay cool.